Okay, let's take a deep dive. We're living through a strange time, aren't we?
Uh-huh.
More connected than ever, constantly accessible, kind of drowning in data.
Yeah, definitely.
We've got all these incredible tools, smartphones, smart assistants, all promising peak efficiency.
Yeah.
Yet, well, for so many of us, it feels like the opposite.
It really does. Overwhelmed, exhausted, and maybe, less genuinely productive.
Exactly.
It's the great paradox of the 21st century, isn't it?
Hmm.
We're armed with tech meant to save time, but we often end up feeling like time's debtors.
Yeah.
And there's this illusion, this idea that productivity means filling every single second, mistaking all that frantic activity for real output.
So true. We're busy, definitely busy, but are we getting the right things done? That's really the core question at the heart of our source material for this deep dive.
Right.
It's Pavel Hrejsemnou's book, Tajemství, produktivního, času, zvládnout, více, méně, hodin, which translates roughly to the secret of productive time, how to manage more in fewer hours.
And what makes Pavel's perspective so powerful, I think, is where he starts. His dedication.
Yeah.
It's about mastering time, not just to cram in more work,
Right.
but fundamentally it's about living a fuller, more intentional life. Your time. It's your most valuable asset. You can't get it back. It's non-renewable.
Totally irreplaceable.
Exactly. So the mission Pavel sets out, and what we're exploring today, is how to use that precious resource wisely, joyfully even, and in a way that lets you shape your life how you want. It's really a path to sustainable change, not just, quick fixes.
Okay, so let's start by maybe challenging our basic understanding of time itself. Pavel really asks us to grasp its nature first.
Yeah, he frames time as the ultimate non-renewable commodity. Like you said, you can earn more money, replace things,
Yeah.
but a moment spent, it's gone forever.
Right.
And getting that isn't just practical, it's deep. Psychologically, philosophically, he even touches on the old Greek ideas, chronos, that linear clock time.
Ticking clock.
Yeah, exactly. Versus kairos, the opportune moment, the right time, the quality of time.
Oh, I love that distinction. We get so obsessed with chronos, tracking minutes, hitting deadlines,
Right.
that we can completely miss the kairos, that perfect moment for a key decision or a creative idea or just being present.
Precisely. And if you look historically, humanity's always been trying to measure and control chronos, sundials, atomic clocks, the whole lot.
Right.
Tech connects us globally now, 24/7, but paradoxically, it often leads to this feeling of pressure, like we're eternal debtors of time, always behind, always chasing.
It helps explain why that modern feeling of being overwhelmed is so, well, deeply ingrained. We built systems around chronos.
And maybe you forgot about kairos.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that pressure, it feeds straight into some really common myths about productivity. Pavel tackles these directly. Let's look at a few.
Okay, first big myth. Productive people never rest.
Oh, this one's so damaging.
Yeah.
The reality, according to the source, is completely the opposite. Rest, relaxation, real regeneration. They aren't obstacles to productivity.
Are essential.
They're foundational for sustained high performance, for avoiding burnout. Think about Ariana Huffington's story.
Right, she collapsed.
Literally collapsed from exhaustion.
Yeah.
And then became this huge advocate for sleep. Argues it's non-negotiable, not a luxury,
Yeah.
if you want to perform at your best.
That feels so counterintuitive, though, because hustle culture praises pushing through exhaustion.
I know, but the source says that's just a recipe for crashing down the line.
Yeah.
Your performance tanks way before you hit total burnout,
Makes sense.
which is why Pavel emphasizes rest. So, okay, here's a simple challenge for you the listening. This week, plan just one non-work Sunday activity, even midweek.
Like what?
Could be anything. A short walk, listening to music you love, reading for pleasure. Just 15 minutes or more, completely disconnected, just to recharge.
Okay, doable. Myth number 2. Being productive means being constantly busy.
Ah, another classic. The source draws a really crucial line here. Busyness is not productivity.
Okay.
You can fill your day checking email instantly, jumping between notifications.
Yeah.
Be incredibly busy.
Yeah, looks productive.
But actually make zero significant progress on what really matters. Real productivity. It's about intentional focus on high-value stuff.
Yeah.
And actively ditching distractions and low-value tasks.
Like Warren Buffett's calendar.
Exactly. Famously sparse. Big empty blocks just for thinking, reading. He's prioritizing the high-impact stuff, not just filling slots.
So it's about effectiveness, not just churning things out. That empty space. That's powerful.
It really is. So, a task for you this week. Identify the single most important task you need to get done. Block out at least 60 minutes, uninterrupted. just for that.
Turn off everything else.
Everything. See what happens when you give your top priority that focused time.
Okay. And the third big myth, multitasking is the key to getting more done.
Oh boy. Science is pretty clear here. Multitasking, like doing multiple demanding things at the same time, it's basically a myth.
Really?
What we actually do is rapid context switching. And that switch, it costs us. Cognitively, it reduces productivity, increases errors, and honestly, it just fries your brain. Even someone like Elon Musk, who seems to juggle a million things.
Right.
He talks about working in intense focus blocks on one problem before switching. He's not coding and designing rockets while on a conference call.
Ah, okay. So it's serial focus, not trying to do everything at once for complex stuff.
Exactly. It matches how our brains actually work best focused attention.
Right.
So a task for you, just to feel the difference, pick something you usually multitask on, maybe checking email during a call or flipping between reports.
Okay.
Next time, try doing just one of those things. Full focus, notice how it feels, the quality of your attention, compared to when you're switching back and forth.
Okay, good challenge. So with those myths out of the way, Pavel shifts to something really fundamental. He says none of the tools or techniques matter without the right foundation, your mindset.
Exactly. The source really emphasizes this. True productivity transformation starts inside. And the first key piece, mental clarity. It's not about doing more. It's about doing the right things. And you only know what the right things are if you're clear on your goals, your values, what success actually means to you.
Without that, you're just adrift.
Yeah, swept away by busy work. Urgent stuff that isn't really important. You look at someone like Tim Cook at Apple.
Known for focus.
Incredible focus.
Yeah.
He maintains clarity by zeroing in on a very small number of key priorities and saying no ruthlessly to almost everything else. That focus comes from the clear vision.
Powerful example.
It is. So for you listening, a task to help build this clarity. Spend just 15 minutes in quiet reflection. No phone, no email, just thinking. And write down the 3 most important things you want to achieve this month. Could be work, personal, learning, whatever's truly important to you. Make them specific, realistic. These become your compass points.
Building on that clarity, attention and focus, which feels harder than ever these days.
Well, it's the battleground, isn't it? The digital age. Our attention is constantly attacked. Notifications, alerts, just the sheer volume of stuff. So the ability to sustain focus for longer periods, what Cal Newport calls deep work, it's becoming a kind of superpower.
Right.
That's where complex problems get solved, where innovation happens, where high-quality work gets done. And Newport himself lives into minimizes digital noise, schedules focus blocks.
Protecting that focus time.
Yeah.
It's like guarding treasure.
It really is.
Yeah.
So to practice this, pick a task that needs concentration. Set a timer, maybe 25 minutes, like the Pomodoro technique.
Okay.
And commit to working only on that task. No interruptions, turn off notifications, close tabs, then take a short break and just reflect. How did that focus block feel compared to your usual scattered approach?
Good one. The final mindset piece Pavel brings up is energy management, which is different from just time management.
Yes, crucial distinction. It's not just about how many hours you throw at something. It's about the quality of energy you bring to those hours. We all have natural energy cycles, right? Peaks and troughs through the day. Understanding your pattern lets you schedule your hardest, most creative, focus-heavy work for when you're naturally at your best.
And save the easier stuff for the slumps.
Exactly. Think about top athletes like Serena Williams. They don't just train hard. They meticulously manage energy, nutrition, sleep, recovery. That same principle applies to brain work, to sustained intellectual performance.
So work with your rhythm, not constantly fight against it.
You got it. Task for you. For 3 days, keep a simple energy diary every couple of hours. Just jot down your energy level 1 to 10. Notice your peaks and valleys. Then next week, try scheduling your most important work during those high-energy times. See if it makes a difference.
Okay, interesting. So moving from that internal mindset to external action, Pavel talks about the foundations of planning and prioritization.
Right. And planning here is way more than just making a to-do list. It's strategic thinking. It's clarifying goals, mapping out the steps, figuring out the resources needed, including your time, obviously. The process of planning itself gives you clarity, reduces stress, helps you make better choices about where to put your effort. It hugely increases your chances of actually hitting your goals.
Like that Eisenhower quote, "Plans are nothing, planning is everything."
Exactly. The value is in the thinking, the preparation, not just the piece of paper.
The act of thinking it through prepares you.
It does. So to put this into practice, Think about one long-term goal you have. Learning something new, a project, whatever. Break it down into just 3 smaller, manageable steps, achievable steps.
Okay.
Then decide specifically when you aim to finish just the first step. That's the beginning of real planning.
Pavel also highlights the start of the day, the idea of a winning morning routine.
Yeah, those first couple of hours can really set the tone for everything that follows. Successful people often have routines that get them ready, mentally and physically.
Doesn't have to be super early, though.
No, not necessarily. It's about creating a ritual that works for you, that energizes you. Jeff Bezos apparently has slow mornings, avoids big decisions early. Steve Jobs had his mirror question about living his last day.
Very different, but both powerful routines.
Exactly. Finding what fits your energy, your focus, not just copying someone else.
Right.
So, your task here. Design your own winning morning routine. Maybe just 15-30 minutes to start. Include something that actually makes you feel ready. Could be exercise, meditation, planning your day, listening to something inspiring.
Whatever works.
Right. Practice it for 5 days straight. See how it feels, what impact it has.
Okay. And after the routine,
Yeah.
the to-do list. Pavel talks about the quality of that list.
Yeah, just having a list isn't the point. An effective list needs to be, well, realistic first off, not pages long so it just overwhelms you.
Makes sense.
Tasks need to be actionable, clear enough you know what to do. And, crucially, prioritized. Many top performers, like Zuckerberg apparently, identify just 1 to 3 most important tasks for the day.
The absolute must-dos.
Yeah, ensures that even if the day goes sideways, the really critical stuff gets handled.
Focusing on those vital few first.
It's a great filter. So, your task. Each evening, spend a few minutes making your list for tomorrow. Then, look at it and pick the 3 most important items. Commit to tackling those 3 first thing before anything else distracts you.
That focus on the most important leads right into the next section. Prioritization masters.
Figuring out what to do first.
Ah, yes. This is where a lot of us get stuck, right? Overwhelmed by choices. Pavel offers some solid frameworks to cut through that. First up, the classic Eisenhower matrix.
Urgent versus important. I've heard of this.
It's simple but powerful. You categorize tasks. Are they important, meaning they align with your real goals? And are they urgent, meaning they need immediate attention?
Okay, so 4 boxes.
Right. Important and urgent. Do it now. Important, but not urgent. Schedule it. This is quadrant 2, the really impactful long-term strategic stuff. Stephen Covey hammered this one.
Where we should spend time. Ideally, yes. Then, urgent but not important. Delegate it if you can, or maybe eliminate it. These often scream for attention, but don't move your goals forward.
Okay.
And not urgent and not important. Eliminate time wasters. Using this helps you see past the noise of urgency to focus on what actually builds value.
That quadrant 2. Important, not urgent. That's the tough one to make right.
Real intention. So, task for you. Take tomorrow's to-do list, the one you just made. Quickly assign each item to an Eisenhower quadrant. Now, looking at that, which tasks could you realistically delegate? Or just cross off entirely?
Okay, good exercise. Another framework mentioned is the Pareto rule, the 80-20 thing.
Yeah, the 80-20 principle. Basically, it suggests that roughly 80% of your results come from about 20% of your efforts.
So find the 20%.
Exactly. Identify that vital 20% of tasks or activities that give you the biggest bang for your buck. Focus your energy there. And, just as importantly, identify the 80% that gives you only marginal returns and figure out how to reduce or eliminate that. Tim Ferriss uses this constantly, always asking, what's the 20% driving 80% of the results or 80% of the problems?
It forces you to question if what you're doing is actually effective.
Ruthlessly effective. Your task here, look back at your main tasks or projects from the last month. Which 20% of those activities generated 80% of your most important results or outcomes? What does that tell you about where your focus maybe should be going forward?
That requires some honest reflection. Okay, and finally a simple one. Eat that frog.
Huh. Yep, attributed to Mark Twain, popularized by Brian Tracy. The frog is your biggest, ugliest, most important task for the day. The one you're most likely to put off.
The one you dread.
That's the one. The strategy. Eat it first thing. Tackle that beast before you do anything else.
Why first?
Ensures it gets done. Stops it hanging over you all day. And it builds momentum. Once the frog is gone, the rest of the day feels easier. You get that win early on.
Get the worst over with, feel accomplished.
It works surprisingly well, especially for those tough tasks. So, your task. Identify tomorrow's biggest frog. That task you know is important, but you're tempted to delay. Schedule it. First thing. Making your mission to finish it before moving on.
Okay, frog identified. Now, once you know what to do, you need systems and tools to actually, make it happen. Pavel talks about this too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tools are key for turning plans into action. But, as the source points out, the crucial thing is finding what works for you, your context, your style. There's no single magic bullet system.
He mentions analog versus digital tools.
Right. Pros and cons to both. Analog notebooks, diaries, they offer that physical connection, fewer digital distractions, maybe even spark creativity. Ryan Holiday's a big fan of index cards, right?
Yeah.
Downsides are obvious. No easy search, no sync. Digital tools, apps, calendars, project managers like Asana, Trello, they give you search, sync, collaboration, reminders. Essential for complex stuff like how Bill Gates or Sundar Pichai manage things.
So it depends on the task and maybe just personal preference, how your brain works.
Exactly. A task for you. For 1 week, try using both. A simple analog tool, maybe a small notebook for your daily top 3, and a simple digital tool, basic phone notes or calendar tasks. See which feels more natural, more effective for your main work.
Okay. And when picking tools, the source warns against getting bogged down.
Oh, totally. Simplicity is key. It trumps complexity every single time if you actually want to stick with a system. The trap is spending ages setting up the perfect system.
And never actually using it.
Exactly. Start simple. Basic list, paper notebook. Only add features or complexity if you genuinely need it, if it clearly helps your workflow. Think Leo Babauta, Zen habits, super minimalist, often just text files or paper.
Just pick something and get started.
Momentum over perfection. So if your system feels too complicated right now, simplify it this week. If you have no system, just commit to a basic paper list or phone note for 7 days. Start there.
And finally, once you have a system, even a simple one, Pavel stresses regular review.
Yeah, systems aren't static. They need maintenance. Plans change, priorities shift. Regular reviews, daily check-ins, weekly deep dives, maybe monthly bigger picture looks. Keep things on track. They let you see what's working, what's not, adjust course.
Keeps the system alive.
Exactly. David Allen's Getting Things Done. The weekly review is the absolute cornerstone of that whole system. It's for clearing your head, updating lists, preparing for the week ahead.
Necessary upkeep.
Ensures the system serves you, not the other way around. Your task. End of this week, block 30-60 minutes for a weekly review. Look at your goals, your tasks, your progress. Reflect. Then plan your key priorities for next week based on that.
Okay, now for the tough stuff. Let's tackle the things that actively sabotage productivity, the productivity killers. Procrastination has to be number one, right?
Ah, yes. That urge to delay. Pavel offers a really important insight here. Procrastination. It's usually not about laziness.
Really? What is it then?
It's often about managing emotions. We put things off not because we don't want to do them, but because the task triggers negative feelings, fear, overwhelm, boredom, anxiety. And we try to avoid those feelings by avoiding the task. Tim Peichel's research backs this up strongly.
That reframes it completely. Not a character flaw, but an emotional response.
Exactly. And understanding that is the first step. So, task for you. Identify one specific task you're currently putting off. Take a moment. What feelings come up when you think about it? Dread, anxiety, boredom. What do you think the real reason for delaying is underneath?
Okay, so once we see the emotional link, what strategies does the source suggest?
Several good ones. First, break it down. Big, scary project. It becomes way less intimidating when you chop it into tiny, manageable steps. Stephen King doesn't sit down to write a whole novel at once, right?
He just writes his pages for the day.
Exactly. A few hundred words makes it doable.
Make the first step ridiculously small.
So small you can't say no. Your task. Take that task you're delaying. What's the absolute smallest first step? Something under 15 minutes. Commit to doing just that tiny step right after this deep dive.
Okay. The Pomodoro technique comes up again here too.
Yeah, it's great for breaking that inertia. 25 minutes of focused work, then a 5-minute break. Makes starting feel less daunting, builds momentum. Good for tackling those feelings of overwhelm or boredom.
Task. Try Pomodoro for your next focus session. 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off.
Another one mentioned is the 5-second rule from Mel Robbins. You know this one.
Count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
That's it. When you feel that hesitation before starting something, just count down and physically move. It interrupts the overthinking that fuels procrastination.
Hijacks the brain before it talks you out of it.
Kind of. A simple physical trigger for action. Your task. Next time you catch yourself hesitating on something small, starting an email, getting up to do a chore, try the 5-second rule. See if it just gets you moving.
And finally, using rewards or consequences.
Yeah, sometimes a little external motivation helps, especially with habit building. Promise yourself a small, specific reward you'll actually enjoy. right after you finish that tough task. Can provide that little extra push.
So for that frog task from earlier, plan a small reward for getting it done.
Okay, moving on from procrastination. Another huge killer, especially as you get more responsibility, is not delegating.
Oh, yeah. It feels faster to just do it yourself sometimes, or you worry it won't be done right.
Totally common feelings. But delegation is absolutely essential if you want to leverage your time effectively and scale your impact. You free yourself up for the high-level stuff only you can do. Plus, it helps develop the people you delegate to. Think Bill Gates early on, or Sheryl Sandberg talking about it as a core leadership skill.
So how do you decide what to delegate? Where do you start?
Good question. The Eisenhower matrix helps again. Tasks in the urgent but not important, or not urgent and not important quadrants are often good candidates.
Okay.
Ask yourself, does this task really need my unique skills? Could someone else do it effectively? Maybe even better? Is it repeatable? Think about Musk delegating operations to focus on innovation.
Okay, task for you listening. Look back at last week. List 3 tasks you did yourself that honestly someone else could have potentially handled. Colleague, family member, maybe even a service.
And building on that, from those candidates, pick one task that's maybe piling up or eating too much of your time that someone else could do. Identify who that person or resource might be.
Okay, deciding is one thing. How do you delegate effectively? It's not just dumping work on someone.
Definitely not. The source outlines key steps. Choose the right person. Define the task and the desired outcome super clearly, what needs doing, why, what does success look like. Give them the resources, info, authority they need.
And then let go. Avoid micromanaging.
Yes. Grant autonomy. Trust them with the how. Set up checkpoints for feedback and progress, yes, but don't hover. And, really important, appreciate their effort and the results. Indra Nooyi at PepsiCo was known for building teams this way, delegation plus coaching.
Trust and clear communications sound like the absolute keys.
Bedrock. Your task. Imagine delegating that task you picked. Jot down how you'd explain it, what the key expectations are, and how you'd set up reasonable checkpoints without breathing down their neck.
Okay, now, the modern world. Our attention is constantly under attack. The source calls it the digital jungle.
It's relentless, isn't it? Notifications, emails, social media, DMs, constant pulls on our focus. And it's internal, too, that urge to just check the feed, respond instantly.
And the impact is real.
Huge. Studies show it takes, 20-plus minutes to get back into deep focus after a major interruption. Leads to worse work, more mistakes, more stress. Steve Jobs was obsessed with eliminating the non-essential, right? That included minimizing distractions.
We've kind of trained ourselves to react to every single ping.
We have. And it's hurting our ability to concentrate. Task for you. Spend one day just observing your digital habits. Notice what distracts you most often. Email, social, news. Which digital noises are your biggest enemies?
So how do we fight back, create that zone of focus?
Several strategies. First, a digital detox. Seriously consider turning off all non-essential notifications. Phone, computer. Block distracting sites during work hours. Time block email checks instead of having the inbox open all day. Adam Grant does this, limits email and social media to protect his deep work time.
Turning off notifications sounds terrifying to some people, like they'll miss something critical.
I know, it feels weird at first, but it's so powerful. Your task. For one full day this week, turn off all non-essential notifications. Maybe allow critical calls if you must. Just see how your focus changes, how you feel.
The physical space matters too, right? Creating that zone.
Absolutely. Cluttered desk, cluttered mind. A few minutes tidying your space removes visual noise. Think Murakami's minimalist desk. Noise-canceling headphones if you need them.
Task. Spend just 10 minutes right now tidying your immediate workspace. Clear away anything not directly related to what you need to focus on.
And finally, use specific techniques within that zone. Time blocking, like we mentioned, scheduling deep work, maybe the one-tab rule in your browser. Even busy leaders like Gates or Musk structure their days in blocks to protect focus.
Treat that deep work block like an important meeting.
Yes, treat it as sacred, your task. Tomorrow, schedule at least one 90-minute deep work block for your top priority. No interruptions during that time. Protect it.
Okay. But life happens, right? Plans go out the window. Pavel talks about managing chaos.
Yeah, unexpected stuff. Crises, last-minute demands. They're inevitable. The key isn't avoiding chaos completely impossible, but learning to react effectively without getting totally derailed, maintaining control and focus in the chaos. Think of CEOs like Mary Barra at GM, constantly navigating unexpected hurdles, needing quick analysis, calm decisions under pressure.
That ability to stay centered when things go sideways is so valuable.
It is. task for you. Think back to a recent week. How much time, roughly, did you spend putting out fires, reacting to unexpected things? Did you feel like you handled it well, or did it just blow up your whole plan?
So how can we prepare for the unpredictable, be more resilient?
The source suggests building buffers into your schedule. Don't pack every minute. Leave some white space, 10–20% maybe for the unexpected, or just for rest. Use buffer time between meetings, 5–10 minutes. Maybe use the 1.5x rule for estimating task time plan 90 minutes for a 60-minute task. Builds in Slack.
Build in Slack on purpose.
Exactly. Your task. Schedule a 30-minute buffer block or unexpected time block into your calendar for tomorrow. If nothing urgent comes up, use it for small tasks, catching up, or just relaxing.
And when a disruption actually hits, how do you handle it in the moment?
Strategies include: first, stop and assess. Is this a real crisis or just something feeling urgent? Use Eisenhower again. Focus on containing the immediate damage, finding a solution. Communicate clearly. Delegate parts of the problem if possible. And this is key. Be willing to reprioritize your original plan. Accept that some things might need to slide. Jeff Bezos talks about two-way door decisions, reversible ones you can make quickly. Helps speed up response.
Respond strategically, not just react blindly.
Right. Task for you. Imagine a significant problem hits tomorrow. System crash. Key person out sick. Mentally walk through the first 3 steps you take to assess it and minimize the impact on your main goals.
And finally, learning from the chaos seems important for next time.
Yes, crises are stressful, but they're amazing learning opportunities. Afterwards, analyze. What happened? Why did it cause such disruption? What could we do differently next time, prevent it, or handle it better? Adapt your systems. Think about aviation safety. They rigorously analyze every incident to improve protocols.
Turn the problem into future resilience.
Exactly. Task for you. Think of a past situation that really threw you off. Create a simple 2–3-step plan for how you'd handle the start of that same situation if it happened again today.
Okay, shifting gears towards making this last. Pavel talks about sustainable productivity. This isn't about just pushing harder.
No, it's about the long game. Recognizing productivity is a marathon, not a sprint. Sustaining performance means managing energy, prioritizing well-being, avoiding burnout.
And burnout. It's not a badge of honor.
Definitely not. The source is clear. Burnout is a sign your system failed you. It's that deep physical, emotional, mental exhaustion from chronic stress. And it tanks your work quality and quantity. Satya Nadella at Microsoft really emphasizes employee well-being. For this reason, a burned-out workforce isn't effective.
Task for you. Think about a time you felt burnout or close to it. What led up to it? What were the consequences for work, health, or relationships?
To prevent that and sustain yourself, you need to tend to the core pillars of energy: sleep, exercise, and dehydration.
Sleep seems absolutely fundamental.
It's non-negotiable for your brain. Focus, memory, problem-solving, emotional stability. Lack of sleep wrecks it all. Bezos, Huffington, they both prioritize 7–8 hours.
Task. For the next week, make sleep a real priority. Try going to bed just 15 minutes earlier each night until you find the sweet spot where you feel properly rested.
Exercise is the next pillar. Even moderate activity boosts blood flow to the brain, cuts stress, increases energy. Doesn't have to be hardcore gym sessions. A brisk walk, some stretching. Richard Branson starts his day with activity for energy and clarity.
Task. This week, commit to just one short burst, 10–15 minutes of physical activity each day. Walk, stretch, dance break, just get moving.
And finally, fuel. What you eat and drink directly impacts energy, mood, focus, stable blood sugar, good hydration. They're key. Think athletes like Tom Brady and their super strict diets for peak performance.
Task. For the next 3 days, just notice what you eat and drink. Then identify one small, easy change for better balance. More water, less sugar, more veggies, just one thing.
Sustainable productivity also means building in breaks and regeneration during the day, not just at night.
Those micro breaks we talked about.
Yeah, they really help. 5–10 minutes every hour or so prevents fatigue, keeps focus sharp, lets your mind reset briefly. And even more important, truly disconnecting. Weekends, holidays, letting your brain switch off completely. Bill Gates' Think Weeks are an extreme version of this total isolation for reflection.
Task. Schedule 3 10-minute breaks into your calendar tomorrow. Use them to actually step away, stand up, stretch, look out the window. Don't just swap work screen for phone screen.
Now, one of the biggest roadblocks to sustainability, to managing energy, is the inability to say no.
Oof, that's a hard one for so many people. Fear of disappointing, fear of missing out, wanting to be helpful.
Totally understandable.
Yeah.
But saying yes to everything means you're implicitly saying no to your own priorities, your rest, your most important work. It leads straight to overcommitment, drained energy. Steve Jobs' focus came from deciding what not to do, saying no 1,000 times for every yes.
His focus was active filtering.
It was. Task for you. Think back. When did you say yes to something you really didn't have the bandwidth for? What was the consequence? How might things have been different if you'd managed to politely decline? The source gives tips for saying no, assertively but kindly. Know your priorities first, that's your anchor. Say no to the request, not the person. Offer alternatives if possible. I can't do that now, but maybe later. Or, my plate's full, but perhaps X could help. Be brief, polite. You don't need a huge justification. And set digital boundaries too. Say no to constant checking. Oprah has mastered boundaries to manage her empire and life.
Having a few phrases ready probably helps make it easier in the moment.
Definitely a skill to practice. Your task. This week, actively look for one situation, just one, where you could say no to protect your time or energy. Plan your polite but firm refusal, and then actually do it.
Part of saying no is also proactively guarding your time, managing your calendar.
Yes. Your calendar should reflect your priorities, not just be a dumping ground for others' meetings. Block time for your deep work. And this is crucial schedule time for rest, family, hobbies, appointments, as if they're critical work meetings. Use Do Not Disturb. Angela Merkel is known for fiercely protecting her calendar for essential thinking time.
Treat your own important stuff with the same respect you give external commitments.
Exactly. Your task. Looking ahead to next week, block out at least 2 solid hours of undisturbed time for your absolute top priority project. Protect that time like gold.
Okay, shifting focus slightly. Pavel argues productivity isn't just about grinding things out. It's also about cultivating growth and creativity.
Right. It's about how you use your mind. Your mental state is a huge lever. He highlights several techniques. First, visualization.
Picturing success.
Yeah. Vividly imagining yourself successfully completing something. It's not just woo-woo. Science shows it can improve performance, build confidence. Athletes do this constantly mentally rehearsing. Business leaders can visualize successful outcomes too.
Task for you. Pick a near-future goal, finishing a report, leading a meeting. For 5 days, spend 5 minutes daily just closing your eyes and vividly imagining successfully doing it. Notice the details, the feeling of accomplishment.
Another mental tool, positive affirmations.
Short, positive statements.
Exactly. Designed to help counter negative self-talk, build confidence, focus on strengths. Think Muhammad Ali, I am the greatest. Many leaders use simpler ones to build resilience, like, I am focused and capable.
Task. Write down 3 to 5 positive affirmations related to your productivity or goals. I manage my time effectively. I am focused. Repeat them a few times daily, especially before tackling something challenging.
A big mental hurdle Pavel tackles is perfectionism.
The enemy of done. Often looks like a virtue, but it can paralyze you.
Totally. It's often fear in disguise. Fear of not being good enough, fear of criticism, leads to endless tinkering, delaying. Remember Zuckerberg's early mantra, done is better than perfect. Iterate. Identify your perfectionism triggers. Set good enough standards. Maybe 80% is fine to start. Focus on progress, not some impossible ideal. The shitty first draft idea for writers. Same principle.
Just get something down, then make it better.
Exactly. Task. Pick a task where you know you get stuck in perfectionism. Set a timer. Decide you'll finish a solid first version within that time, even if it's not perfect. Aim for good enough.
A productive life isn't mistake-free. Pavel talks about learning from failure and seeking feedback. This is huge.
Critical mindset shift. We're often taught to fear failure, but innovators see it as necessary learning. Failure is just data. Think Edison and the light bulb 10,000 ways that won't work. Silicon Valley's fail fast idea. The sooner you learn what's not working, the faster you find what does.
See failure as a teacher, not an endpoint.
Precisely. Task for you. Think of a recent setback or failure. Instead of blame, ask, what valuable lesson did I learn? What would I do differently next time? And actively seeking feedback. That's gold. An outside view shows your blind spots. Ask colleagues, mentors, friends for constructive input. Be specific. Be open. Be grateful it's a gift. Don't take it personally. Pro athletes live on feedback.
Task. Next week, ask someone you trust for feedback on a specific project or task. Specifically, ask what you could improve.
And all this learning requires reflection and adaptation. It's a continuous cycle. Regularly reflect daily, weekly, what worked, what didn't, why, what next. Turn insights into action. Experiment. Think lean startup. Build, measure, learn. Test ideas, get data, learn, iterate.
An ongoing improvement loop.
Yes. Task. End of this week, take 15 minutes. Note 3 things you learned about your productivity this week. Successes or failures. For each, set one small, specific action step for next week based on that lesson. Pavel also hits on resilience and grit. That mental toughness for challenges and long-term goals.
Bouncing back and sticking with it.
Exactly. Stress happens. How you view it matters. Challenge versus threat. Resilience is recovery. Grit is passion, plus perseverance for the long haul, like Angela Duckworth talks about. These aren't fixed traits. They're skills you build.
How do you build resilience then?
Cultivate a growth mindset. Believe abilities grow with effort, Carol Dweck. Practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself when you mess up. It actually builds strength, Kristen Neff. Build your support network.
Task for you. Next time stress hits, notice the feeling. Ask, how can I use this energy? Next time you make a mistake, ask, what would I tell my best friend? Say that to yourself and reach out to someone supportive next week.
And building grit. That needs clear, meaningful, passionate goals. It requires deliberate practice pushing slightly beyond your comfort zone with feedback. And visualizing obstacles and how you'll cope prepares you, builds confidence.
Task. Look at your big goals. Why are they truly meaningful? Write it down. Pick an area to improve. Set a small, specific, deliberate practice task. For your most important goal, visualize a potential problem, then vividly picture yourself solving it effectively.
Finally, Pavel connects productivity and creativity. Structure doesn't kill creativity, he argues. It enables it.
Not about waiting for random inspiration.
Not usually, no. Sustained creativity often needs dedicated space and time. Chaos exhausts. Structure frees up mental bandwidth for those aha moments. Think Einstein's focus. Gates' think weeks.
So how do you stimulate creativity within a productive framework?
Several ideas. Allow for mind-wandering walks, showers, keep an idea journal comper, capture everything, no filter like Da Vinci. Connect unrelated fields like jobs linking calligraphy and tech. Use structured thinking tools like De Bono's hats to explore different angles.
Task for you. Take a 20-minute walk this week, no phone, just let your mind wander. Start an idea notebook file, capture everything for a week. Watch something totally unrelated to your field. Look for parallels. Pick a problem. Use the green hat. Brainstorm wild ideas without judgment.
And nurturing creativity requires care. Sleep, rest are vital. Play activities just for fun. No goal refreshes perspective. Don't fear failure in experiments. Think Google's 20% time spawning things like Gmail.
Task. Schedule 30 minutes of playtime this week. Something you enjoy just for the sake of it.
Okay, the last big area Pavel covers is leveraging automation.
Letting the robots handle the routine stuff?
Exactly. Not replacing people, but freeing up our time and brain power from repetitive tasks for the stuff that needs human creativity, strategy, connection.
Makes sense. What are the main benefits?
Saves time, obviously. Reduces errors on boring tasks, increases efficiency, consistency, lowers mental load, fewer things to remember. It's scalable. Big tech runs on automation. Even small teams can automate reminders. Data syncing.
Task for you. Look at your week. Identify 3 tasks you do repeatedly daily, weekly, monthly that are routine, rule-based, don't need complex judgment.
Once you spot candidates, where can you automate? Everywhere. Email, filters, templates, auto-replies. Files, auto-backup, sorting rules. Calendar, scheduling tools like Calendly, auto-reminders. Social media, post-scheduling. Finance, auto-payments, expense tracking. Even organizing systems like KonMari, automate decisions.
Task. Pick one of those repeating tasks you identified. Find a simple tool or method to automate or streamline it. Maybe an email filter, a template, a calendar reminder rule, auto backup for a folder.
How to start? Gradually. Smartly. Identify your biggest pain points, the most annoying, time-sucking tasks. Start simple, use built-in features in apps you already have. Explore no-code, low-code tools like Zapier, IFTTT. Make they connect apps without programming. Document your automations. Review them periodically. Think Basecamp's culture, minimize meetings, use tools, and async communication.
Task. Explore Zapier or IFTTT. Find one simple pre-built recipe or flow to automate a small digital task you do, often saving email attachments, syncing contacts, getting a daily summary. Try setting it up. Wow. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, all drawing from Pavel Hrejsemnou's Tajemství, produktivního času.
We really have. Started by rethinking time itself, busting those myths about busyness and rest, then explored how productivity starts with mindset, clarity, focus, energy.
Moved into the practical stuff. Planning, morning routines, effective to-do lists, mastering prioritization with Eisenhower and Pareto, eating the frog, choosing and using systems and tools simply and reviewing them.
Then we tackled the killers. Procrastination, seeing the emotion behind it, delegation, fighting the digital jungle for focus, and managing chaos.
We looked at making it sustainable, avoiding burnout by managing energy pillars like sleep, exercise, diet, breaks, and the huge power of saying no. and protecting your calendar.
And finally, the mental game. Cultivating growth and creativity through visualization, affirmations, overcoming perfectionism, learning from failure, building resilience and grit, stimulating creativity, and using automation to free ourselves up.
It's such a holistic approach, way beyond just time hacks. And as the source stresses right from the start, the ultimate goal isn't just about doing more work, it's about managing your time, attention, energy effectively so you can consciously create the space to live a richer, more intentional life, shaped by your vision of what matters.
Exactly. Which leaves us with a final thought for you to ponder. If this is truly about freeing up space for what matters most, beyond just your obligations, then what's one significant area of your life, maybe a relationship, a passion, your health, personal growth, that you could really nourish and transform with the time and energy you reclaim by applying these ideas?